Hey, what's going on, guys? And with it on here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the river person, and I feel like the river person is actually becoming more and more relevant as the chapters go on, because it's like things keep getting mentioned in each chapter, and each of these random things that gets mentioned in the chapter keeps like coming back up and coming and looping back to somehow the river person. So yeah, I found something that I haven't seen anyone else talk about at all in terms of stuff that happened in chapter 4, and Chapter 4 references some random, like, very specific thing that the river person says, and I'm gonna get into it in a minute. I wanted to explain this Valentine's letter that we got from the newsletter like a year or two ago, and how it pretty much is confirmed to be the Eggman because of what he says here on the right side. Put on your coat and wash your face, or put on your face and wash your coat. And then the Eggman in chapter 3 says, take your time, wash your face, and get dressed. So it's pretty much saying the same thing verbatim. Another thing I wanted to mention here was it says whether 11 hours or 11 years Deltarune would be waiting. So this is in the chapter, in chapter 3 Egg. Why does he say here, how is Delta Space ruined? Why is there a difference here? I really don't know, but I just felt like bringing it up in case maybe they aren't the same person. Maybe this is evidence against it. I'm not sure. So my next thing is kind of why I feel like the river person could be the Eggman. And I know on the right here I have, it says like river woman, river man, and it doesn't really matter, so like the gender is not really specified. But the real point of having all of these screenshots here is to kind of explain the way river person talks. Like river person says, then perhaps another time or perhaps not, it doesn't really matter when you go to like not ride with them on the boat. And then same thing with like this over here, I'm the river man, or am I the river woman, it doesn't really matter. And that's very similar to how the egg person talks and this thing where it's like, put on your coat and wash your face, or put on your face and wash your coat. Not necessarily in that order or any order at all. It's like saying something and then saying the exact kind of opposite thing right after. Was it myself? No. Well, perhaps. If it, and then also, if only you believe it so. Do you believe it so? It's like repeating the thing over, or like the other variant of what you're saying, you know? So that's why I think it could potentially be the Eggman, but I'm not 100% sure, because I think it could be also Gaster, the river person, and the Eggman are connected in a different way. Maybe they're not the same person, or maybe they're all shards of Gaster. I don't really know. But anyways, I just want to go through all of the important things that river person says, and if you already know these, you might want to skip ahead a little bit, but I kind of just want to catch everyone up so we're on the same page. So the biggest thing that river person says is obviously, beware of the man who speaks in hands. Oh, I wonder who he's talking about here. Gaster, obviously. So, obviously, Gaster speaks in hands, all that. The second thing is, beware the man who came from the other world. I feel like after chapter 4, it's like 99%, we're 99% sure that this has to be Sans. He always talks about, look, I gave up trying to go back a long time ago. There's don't forget in his room, the place where it rained, and it's just like the photo in his thing. And I just feel like it has to be talking about Sans. It could be talking about Gaster, I guess, if he came from Deltarune somehow, but I think it's probably Sans. And then, obviously, a lot of people probably know this too. Did you ever hear the song Coming from the Sea? You talk to Onion in chapter 2, he says, sometimes I hear a song at night, just a little piece of a song, you hear? It sounds like it's coming from under the water, deep. I've heard that song before, Coming from the Sea. It's not a new song, but I can't remember. I can't remember, you hear? And something interesting that I also think about when I hear this dialogue from Onion is the fact that he says, I can't remember, you hear? And what do we know about the Eggman? The Eggman is always forgotten. I think his name is actually the Forgotten Man, but I keep calling him the Eggman, and everyone still probably calls him the Eggman, but I think his real name might be the Forgotten Man, because in chapter 4 in the hospital he keeps bringing up like, oh, I've been forgotten before. Actually, no, that was 3. Sorry, my bad. In chapter 3, he brings up the fact that he's been forgotten before, will you forget me again? So I think him saying I can't remember could be a reference to the Eggman, and again, referencing back to the river person who originally was the one who talked about the song from the sea in Undertale. And also I just have in the corner here that Gerson brought up the song from the deep, which is interesting because he just says like, it's the hammer of, he doesn't say exactly like, oh, the song is the hammer of justice, but he does say like, the hammer of justice right after this line, so I'm not fully sure. Because that'd be weird if like that whole time it was just foreshadowing Gerson. But I guess maybe it could make sense, because like maybe the river person is just talking about Gerson's theme or something in Undertale, but I feel like it has to be more than that, especially with the water connections to to dark worlds and dark fountains. Like dark fountain, like a fountain is literally water, and all of those water connections, like I'm pretty sure water theory is a pretty big one. But here is my biggest thing that I was just looking back at the river person dialogue, because I kind of just wanted to make this video with all of that other evidence but not this, and then I saw him say this. I'm like, he says, "Tralala, what's inside an acorn? It's really just a mystery." And then I'm like, hold on. In chapter 4, there's literally a random one of these guys. I don't know their name, sorry. And I remember, I'm like, one of them just said something random about an acorn for absolutely no reason. And then I'm like, holy crap, that literally connects. I heard there's something inside an acorn, but I don't know where to find an acorn, or even what an acorn is in the first place. We must find a way to use alchemy to make this acorn. And is it the most random thing ever? Yes. Is there any like discernible information we can get out of this? Not really. But I just felt like it was really odd, because a lot of these guys in chapter 4, they just say the most random things that like somehow add up to important things that we know. Like one asks, do you know what hyperlink blocked is? And then that whole like egg hallway, they just keep talking about random stuff. And then like the children will follow the pointed tail where the forest would grow or whatever. Like they're definitely talking about some cryptid things, and I don't know if this guy is just bring up the acorn because it's something that the river person said, or if it has a deeper meaning, like this acorn is actually important. But I still feel like this is an important thing, because like I said at the beginning, it just seems as these chapters are going on, stuff that the river person has said has been getting increasingly more relevant, or just at least brought up, like the song in the sea, the man that came from the other world, and now the acorn. It just seems very, very interesting. And then basically here, I kind of just wanted to say, when he mentions humans, monsters, flowers, I wonder if that is a foreshadowing for chapter 5. It probably isn't, because it's probably just talking about Flowey. And then same with snooping other people's houses. Like, obviously that's referring to the thing behind Sans' house, which is like pointing you towards the literal Deltarune reference in Undertale, like foreshadowing Sans to be from Deltarune probably. But I just wonder if like this humans, monsters, flowers could also be foreshadowing for chapter 5 somehow. Again, we have no idea because we haven't seen chapter 5, but maybe. And then this next thing is kind of some other things that he said is interesting. These are just like kind of smaller things that aren't as big as the acorn, because the acorn is definitely like more very specific. But I thought, I saw these and I'm like, this could be relevant too. The river person says somewhere it's, and then a random day of the week, so be careful. And it's really interesting because the Eggman also references all these weeks in his daily schedule, or his weekly schedule and stuff. So I just thought that was interesting. Maybe it's not connected. Possibly it is. I think that's an interesting connection there. And then Tralala, the angel's coming, is probably talking about the Undertale angel, but I think it still could be in reference to both. I guess, I mean, that's just how the Deltarune is set up. It probably is meant to represent both in a sense. Because it says it's coming, but technically Frisk is the angel slash Azrael. I guess I still don't really know the consensus on that one. It could be either of them. This slide is more for things that I think could be relevant in the future. And I guess that was kind of like the last slide too. River person says suddenly feeling tropical. I don't know why. It's just like a hunch that I feel like that could be relevant in the future. And then the next thing river person says is the waters are wild today. That's good. Or they say bad luck. And the water is very wet slash dry. It could be either of those as well. So obviously that's just relating more back to the water and like fountain themes of the dark worlds. And again, if you don't know anything about water theory, there's so much water connections and wording used to relate to dark worlds and dark fountains. So I would look up a separate video on that if you want to know more about that. But I think that one's probably definitely important, especially because like Song from the Sea, that too. I've read about that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is more of the gathering of the river person information and things that I think are important. And again, I think maybe they're all just parts of Gaster. I mean, the average fan just average Deltarune fan just explaining it as Gaster as always. But I think the river person, we should look out for more of what the river person is saying in future chapters. Like I said, like the tropical island. Maybe there's a tropical island. Maybe we ride on a boat, because there's also another line that the river person says about, oh, don't fall off a boat or something. I forget exactly what it is, but maybe we ride on a boat to a tropical island or something in chapter 5. I mean, we do ride on a boat, I guess, in chapter 3. I didn't even think about that. Around the islands. I mean, that's more of something that doesn't seem as relevant and it's just like in a chapter, but I guess it could be that. But I feel like it's more like the Acorn or the Song from the Sea, where those could actually be important and probably relevant to the story and what's actually happening. Because just like the acorn is just such a random specific thing to say. It is exactly what he says. I'm gonna go back to it because he literally says what's inside an acorn is really just a mystery. And then the guy in chapter 4 literally says, I heard there's something inside an acorn, inside the acorn. The acorn is also interesting because that almost makes it seem like the acorn is important, inside the acorn. But then he refers to it as an acorn. So I don't know. Again, most of my videos I feel like are compiling evidence. I don't have a full synopsis or thing that I'm fully sure of from all of these points, but I like gathering information and hopefully helping other people create better theories, or people can discuss them in the comments. I like when people discuss them in the comments and I see other people's views of things I didn't even think about, or like the Asgore video where I didn't even know that it said boss 3 on his mural. But anyways, I'm kind of just rambling now, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more, and again, thank you guys for viewing my videos. And they're kind of falling off. The night one was the highest one, but it's whatever. I mean, it's really cool that even like the tutorial one, like 10,000 is still so many people. It's insane. And yeah, I would just please say that if you guys want to help me out subscribing, I would really appreciate it, because if I can get to 1,000, I can get like ads and stuff, and that would be really helpful. So yeah, it'd be pretty cool if I get ads. I never thought I'd be able to get that, but I don't know. I like making these videos, and if people like watching them, then I'll keep making them. So yeah, leave a like, comment below, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.